Hello and Happy New Year. So I hope 2024 is going to be a great year for you. I hope the holiday period was good for you too, that you got to do some things that you enjoy and see some of your loved ones as well. And for me, it was pretty good because I did get to see some family and stuff. And also I got this awesome gift between my birthday and Christmas from my lovely wife. So I've been wanting this particular jersey, not just an Ultra jersey, but this particular one since it came out. So absolutely delighted with that. And it means I've completed my collection for the Irish provinces now. I've got a jersey from each of the 4 teams. And now, I guess the next jersey I get has to be another URC team. So any suggestions for that, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do about sourcing one. It won't be for a while anyway, but it's always good to have ambition, isn't it? So what's this video about? Basically, we've had 2 rounds of the URC that have been stretched over the last 3 weeks or so, and we're going to go through only the results. So we're not going to normally talk a little bit about how the games went and stuff. This time we're just going to talk about the results from the 2 rounds. Then we're going to have a look at the table, because after 9 rounds we're basically halfway through the regular season, and some teams are in good positions, some teams not so much, and we're going to have a chat about that. So round 8 started back on December 22nd with the Scottish Derby. Glasgow won at Scottstown 22-10 against Edinburgh. Then we also had, on the same night, won the Irish Interpros. It was Ulster 20, Connacht 19. So at that time there were 2 teams who were both kind of had slipped down to 7 and 8 in the table at that stage, and both looking a bit vulnerable. And Ulster just about pipped Connacht to the win there. On to Saturday 23rd of December then. Zebre Palma 24, Benetton 31. Zebres, their tenacity and their ability to run teams close, just continuing there, picking up a losing bonus point. But Benetton have been a really strong team this season, and we'll see that when we look at the table as well. Then we had a massive South African derby. We had the Stormers versus the Bulls. This was a repeat of the URC final from 2 seasons ago. Stormers won 26-20, as they did in that final as well, just beating out the Bulls. But the Bulls have looked, up until this kind of period, the most impressive of the South Africans. But the Stormers, the beginnings, the round before this one as well, I said that they were beginning to kind of climb the table, and it really showed that, I think, through this period as well. On to Tuesday, December 26th. So Boxing Day in England, St. Stephen's Day here in Ireland. So we had some Welsh derbies. Cardiff 55, Dragons 21. So Cardiff, a bit of a statement win for them. Talked about how, they've lots of youngsters coming through and impressing in that team. And it feels like Cardiff could be, maybe not this season, but in a season or 2, they could actually be proper contenders in the URC, which we haven't seen from a Welsh side in a very, very long time. Dragons, it's gotten to the point now where that kind of, good feeling that they had around the place has to be gone now. Like they've had decent performances, but they're not producing results. They got to get that sorted out. Then it's Scarlets versus Ospreys as well. On the Scarlets 11, Ospreys 25. Ospreys doing very well there. Scarlets, I think, actually started the game pretty well. Then also we had another big Irish derby, Munster 3, Leinster 9. So very low scoring affair, that one. And Munster, they felt it or in it right up to the end, but Leinster were able to pull out the win there. And Munster, for them, I think consolation for Munster fans is that they won the one that counted last year. They're going to hope that they're going to be able to do that this year as well against Leinster. On to then, Saturday, January 6th. So a lot of the other teams actually played another game before these two played, but this was part of round 8. Sharks 18, Lions 20. I thought the Sharks were actually going to win this one, because as we looked at a lot of our stats, a lot of our fundamentals are good. It's just that they're not being able to put everything together in the performance that is delivering wins for them, but a really good win for the Lions there too. So that was round 8. On to round 9 results then. So first up on December the 30th, we had Benetton 36, Zebre 14. So in the return game there, Benetton a little bit too strong for Zebre, but Zebre over the 2 games, I think we're fairly happy with how they went. And again, Benetton, they're a tough task for anyone really at the moment. Then again, the Scottish Derby, this time Edinburgh come out the winners 19-14, but Glasgow, they're the ones that basically win it overall this year, basically because, they won by a bigger margin in the first game, but, they still get a losing bonus point in this one, and they ran Edinburgh pretty close. Then off to South Africa, Stormers 16, Sharks 15. Again, Sharks, they're getting very, very close to potential win, but just not being able to actually deliver it in the end. And it's one of those things where, once you're able to do it once, then it just becomes easier and easier to do it. And if they've got to be able to do that, they've got to win one of these tight games and just have that in the bank then for the future. But at the moment, it's just not quite there for them, and Stormer is able to pull out the win there. On to then the New Year's Day. So Connacht, a fairly handy win for them, 22-9 against Munster. Not a great holiday period for Munster, really. It looked like they were beginning to recover, and then losing to 2 big rivals in a couple of weeks, not really what you want over that holiday period. Over to Wales again then, Ospreys 27, Cardiff 21. So this was basically the 2 teams that had won in the first set. Cardiff beating Dragons, Ospreys beating Scarlets, but Ospreys come out on top there. So again, Cardiff, young team, there's still a lot of learning for them to do, but Ospreys starting to look fairly good, honestly, on that, and pushing their way up the table as well. Then Dragons finally do produce that win, 13-12 against Scarlets. It's a close one, but it's still a win for them, so they're going to be delighted with that. But you got to back that up. You can't just pull out the odd win against one of the Welsh teams. You got to start beating the teams from the other nations as well. We see a lot of kind of the Welsh teams. A lot of their wins actually come in their derbies rather than against other nations, and until that they can change that, we're going to see a lot of that kind of clump of Welsh teams down near the bottom of the table. Back into Ireland then, we had Leinster 21, Ulster 22. I did a full review of this game, and I said that Leinster definitely did not deserve to win that one. Ulster deserved winners of it, and luckily I'm wearing the right jersey for that. But as a Leinster fan, I felt that this is coming for Leinster for a while, definitely in a period of transition. Ulster, they had that, I was really worried about them, in the period just before, in kind of October, November, coming into December, where they really looked like they lost their way, and it looked like there was maybe going to be, have to be major changes in that squad. They've had a little bit of a bounce. It doesn't mean that everything is suddenly fixed now, but at least they've got something to build on, and they had a decent Christmas period. On to January 27th then, that's when the Bulls are going to play the Lions, so that's when this round is officially going to end. But I don't know why they do this. I don't know why the teams can't play. I'm sure somebody from South Africa can explain to me why these teams couldn't play on the weekend when everybody else did, but it would be nice to kind of have everything in a nice little set where everybody's played the same amount of games, but we'll have to wait for that to be done, because we're going to have European games coming up now, and a bit of a break for the URC, and I think that's going to actually be the next URC game that gets played. But we're going to look at the table now. So with Leinster, despite that defeat against Ulster, still at the top of the table, but they have lost twice, which, at this stage last year, they were still 9 of 9 and they were looking really good. But we know that they tapered off towards the end of the season. Maybe this year they're building up to try and peak around that, that finals time, so that they can actually produce their best performances when they're needed the most. In second place, then we have Benetton, who actually have a better record in terms of 7 wins, a draw, and a loss. But we talked about the fact that they don't pick up very many bonus points, and they now have 2, which was more than they had previous to this period. They actually had 0 previous to this. They were the only team in the league that didn't have any. So at least they're picking some up now. But if they hadn't been doing that all the way up to now, they would actually be above Leinster in the table. So it just shows that getting your bonus points is very important, whether it's in victory or defeat. But yeah, Benetton, really solid team, and it's great to see them right up there competing. I hope that they can actually sustain that through the season, and they don't kind of just fall off and out of the playoff places. Hopefully they're up there and they can actually get a home berth in the quarterfinals and potential semi-final if they make it there as well. Then we have Glasgow Warriors, who started the season so well, kind of dropped off a bit, and now they're coming back again. So, again, good to see them up there, and hopefully they can maintain that, because they're a team that have shown a lot of promise. They got to a European final last year as well, and they're very similar to the team below them, Ulster, in that they just need to find a way to win those quarterfinals and semi-finals in this competition, because they get there so often. And yeah, Ulster there in 4th on 28 points. Then you got Edinburgh, who last year as well started very well, but actually dropped away. So they're going to hope to, maintain their position there as well, down in 5th place with 26 points. The Bulls, one of the big losers from this holiday period. They were in 2nd place going into the last couple of rounds. They obviously do have that game in hand, which if they win it, they could bounce back up as high as 3rd, but still, just the one game or one defeat for them means that they're going to be playing catch up, even if they do win the game that they have in hand. They have the Stormers, who finally fought their way into the playoff places. They've played 9 games. They've won 5 and lost 4, which for the Stormers is not a great record, but they've won most of those in the last few rounds as well. So they're on 26 points there as well. So they're going to be looking to climb further up the table as or when the competition returns after the European Games. Ospreys, Welsh team down there in 8th. It's great to see a Welsh team in the playoff places. Just hope that they can maintain that. But when you look at the teams who are outside of the playoffs at the moment, there are some very big threats to them. So they're going to want to, get themselves higher up that table so that they're not the target for those, bigger teams who are currently outside of the playoffs. Got Connacht down in 9th place. A bit of a mixed holiday period for them. Munster down there in 10th. Not a great holiday period for them either. There are 2 teams that are going to want to go on a bit of a run, and they're going to be targeting Ospreys and to try and get higher up than that as well. Then you have the Lions, who've been decent, but still need to, they need to find some consistency and put a run of wins together in order to get themselves kind of further up the table. But there's a lot of teams in and around that area who are kind of winning one week, losing the next, and that's the way they are, and that's the way the teams around them are too. So you feel like anyone in that pack that can put that run together could really put themselves in a great position. You have Cardiff there as well, who, kind of I'd say the bottom of the actual contenders now for playoffs at this stage, unless somebody below them puts in an amazing run. It looks like Cardiff are probably that's the cutoff, 21 points, because when you see it's a drop down 9 points down to Scarlets, you can say it's only 2 wins, but it's 2 wins more than the teams above you that you've got to get. It's not just winning 2 games. They could win 1, and you've only closed the gap by 4 or 5 points. So, it's a big ask, I think, for any of those teams, the likes of Scarlets and stuff, to now get into the playoffs. It's not impossible, but they will have to have a much better second half of the season compared to the first half. Like Scarlets would almost have to reverse, that 2-0-7 record. They probably have to win, I'd say, probably 6 or 7 games in the second half to realistically have a chance of getting into the playoffs. Them got Zebre there. They got 1 win, a draw, and 7 defeats, but a lot of those defeats have been pretty close. That's why they picked up 6 bonus points, and they're on 12 points as well. You have the Dragons. They'll be boosted by that win and getting off the bottom of the table as well. And then the Sharks down there with just a lone win. And again, Sharks have looked decent at times, but it's a case of put it all together and have that ability to actually eke out those wins when it really counts, and they're not doing that at the minute. But that's our video for now. We will have more videos coming soon. We obviously had a bit of a break over the holiday period, but now I'm back. I'm raring to go. I love rugby. I want to talk about rugby, and we're going to have more videos. I'm probably going to be, I'm definitely going to be doing stuff on the Champions Cup coming up. I'm probably going to be doing other stuff as well. There was an article that Warren Gatland wrote about, how he'd like to see rugby improved, in inverted commas. I'd love to give a response to that. I've seen, a couple of the people that I follow have done videos on that, like Tim from Egg Chasers, and also Mark from 2 Cents Rugby has done one on it too. So I'd love to give kind of my opinion on that. So if I have time, I'm going to do that too. And then, we're going to be previewing all of the Champions Cup games, and we're going to review select ones, anyone that I'd actually get to watch. Unfortunately, going to be working again at the weekend, which means kind of limits me to kind of evening kickoffs for the games, and then the fact that I have to be up early in the next morning as well means that I can't watch the really late games either. So I'm kind of almost only been able to see 1 or 2 games over a weekend, which is, I wouldn't say torture, but as a rugby nut, I would watch every single game over a weekend if I could, and I'd certainly watch every game in the time slot, as it were. So, obviously with Champions Cup, a lot of games kind of kick off at the same time, but I would normally, if I had the whole weekend to be able to watch them, I'd probably watch maybe half of the games that were on, depending on, again, time slots. But we'll see what we can do in that. We will have reviews, and we will have then a review of the entire week as well. And then, beyond that, we're not that far away from Six Nations as well. So my mind is turned towards that, maybe doing some build-up videos to that. But plenty more to come on the channel. So if you wouldn't mind, hit that like button, post a comment, share this with whoever. It really does help the channel out.